How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I'm the other host, Tim Wagner.
Tim, all right, I found a tiny little bottle of that cold brew
Hey,
Jaeger,
look
dude.
at I thought I had it. Oh, look it, it's still down here too.
Hey, I found it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Is this your first try?
This is it live on air right now.
It's good,
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's very like, oh, the coffee flavor is way strong, dude.
right? Yeah, it's kind of like at first you're like,
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not bad, right?
It's almost like a latte or something like that, or like a mochaccino,
Yeah.
like a mocha.
Okay. Now I have whiskey Coke here. I'm
Yeah, I
sipping
got one of
on,
those too, but
but I need to refresh your course because I forget. Yes, so we're on the same page here.
right, exactly. Wow,
Yours is cold, right?
frozen in the freezer. You might be able to see the
Yeah.
frost if you're on YouTube.
Mine's not. Oh,
Oh,
Christ.
gr- it's kind of like a iced mocha,
My nose,
but it hits like Jaeger still at the
my
start.
nose itched. I don't know if that was if it made my nose itch. Watch out, kids. It'll make your nose itch. Oh, yeah, no, it's
But by
definitely
kids,
like
he means
Jaeger,
drink
and
responsibly, 21 and up.
it's right, exactly. By children, I mean, uh, but dude, it's pretty good. It's definitely like Jaeger in the front and
Coffee
like
in the back.
coffee in the back, and it's
Yeah,
almost like
yeah.
it's not a overly bitter coffee. It's almost like
No,
dark chocolate notes,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's
But
like
it's coffee for sure. It's
Yeah. I
it's
can't
pretty
believe it.
nice.
I
You know
like it.
what though? I bought it with the intentions of being like I'm gonna mix it with Irish cream because coffee and cream, and then I never did. I have both still. I need to do that.
Yeah, you do. You
I
definitely
just
need to do that.
yeah, because the first night I bought it, we started drinking that, and then we were over at my brother-in-law's house, and he had like a bunch of different bourbons, like he had like
Oh yeah,
Christmas
he's got a
gifts and
rack,
whatnot.
doesn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they had just went
sick.
to Texas, and he brought back some other stuff, so we're just like sampling everything he has, and I'm sampling this and stuff. So at the end of the
You
night,
didn't
I
get
drank a
around to
little bit of this, and we ended up just sampling a bunch of other stuff. But
it. Sounds like a good night. Well,
oh yeah,
Tim, we usually start off the podcast with some fishing news. So if you're new to the podcast, thank you for joining us.
yes,
We usually hit
welcome.
it with fishing news, but here's the thing: we talked about the new classification of burbot, eel pout,
Yep,
right?
yeah,
And how they're going to be game fish in the new regs. Well, the new regs are out, and that is going to be how we kick off our fishing topic. So I'm going to skip over the fishing news this time. We're just going to roll it all in. But before we do that, we got to get to the housekeeping. Of course, this episode is brought to you by Monster Bass and Real AF TV Patreon. That is realaf.tv/Patreon. You can go over to the Patreon page and check it out. That's how you can directly support the podcast.
yep.
We'll get into that later. Also, go to realaf.tv/contact. Give us some feedback on it, because if you have been listening to the podcast for a little while, this fishing news thing that we do in the beginning, I really like it. You know, we grab a fishing news topic, we get quick on it. But there's also such thing as like the 10 or 15-minute podcast out there.
Whoops. So
And I would like to hear from you guys if that is something from the audience. You guys let me know. Do you want us to just split that out? Like, should we just do a 10 to 15-minute podcast?
right, is that
Like,
what you want?
yeah, should I split that out so that the podcast as a whole isn't as long?
We
Because
can
long
do that.
form podcasts are totally what we're going for here. I mean, we're pushing to, we started this thing doing an hour, and now we pretty much do an hour per topic.
Right. Which is like not intentional. We just kind of talk about what we talk about until we're done talking about it.
Right. Right. Until we feel the momentum dying and we kill it. And that's just an example of why me and Tim started podcasts, because we can talk. We like to talk. But that's seriously
Yep.
why I want you to go over to realaf.tv/contact and let us know, because I've been thinking about that. I was like, maybe we should split that off and just do a short podcast. do like the 10-15 minute podcast. Maybe people are really into that. I'm not sure. Let us know. And speaking of sharing, you know that you can share us on the iHeartRadio app because we're on iHeartRadio. We're on
I didn't
iTunes.
know you could
We're on
share it.
all that shit, man. Just hit the share button. Let some people
Share.
know.
Can you share any of the other ones? I never even tried.
Oh yeah, on Spotify you can share. Like there's just like a share
Can you?
button. Yeah.
Dude, I
Actually,
might.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I might start getting into Spotify more and stuff. I know we talked about it one time about
Mhm. Mhm.
the different podcast things, but
Yep.
Google, I guess, is the easiest one to get hacked. Like,
Yeah, okay.
well, from what
Seems
I've
weird,
heard, like,
but
yeah, well, from like they can just like start throwing ads inside your podcasts and stuff because they can just all of a
mm,
sudden go into your system and say that like, oh, make like a dummy account and be like,
mm,
no, I'm the real one. And then
interesting.
Google will just be like, oh yeah, you're the real one. And then it'll like boot us out and then we'll struggle to like get back in and stuff.
Oh,
Well, they just
okay.
run their own ads. I don't think we're big
Well,
enough to worry about it yet, but
right. But I also have ways of preventing that. That's what I bring to the podcast.
there
That's
you
the IT
go.
part that I bring because there's stuff that I can do to do that then. But me and you have to talk about that offsite.
Nice. But yeah, that and just like some of the shit just doesn't work right for I've heard some of the other I I know that we've had a problem with it before where you like put stuff out and like only half of it showed up or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that
And then
happened only on one podcast, and no, it happened on a couple podcasts. One of them, though, Spotify won't even relink it. The other
oh,
apps
Spotify
picked it
won't.
up. Yeah, so I can
Hmm.
see how Spotify would be more secure in this story because like
Oh
I
yeah.
just overwrote the old file and all the other podcast feed went and grabbed it and downloaded it into their system and
Okay.
it fixed itself. But
Yeah.
Spotify was the only one that just took the OG
Hmm.
and it never fucking came back.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So sorry, a little bit of sidetrack, but yeah, then
Yeah.
I'll learn more about the Spotify and sharing and stuff. And if you could, that'd be super dope. Spotify is definitely a cool platform, and they all seem to be cool if like that's what you're
Mhm.
into. Even I was even familiar with Stitcher for a while,
Mm. Mhm.
um, because that was like linked up with the Mazdas when I was selling cars.
Oh,
So it
sweet.
like came integrated. So I learned all
Yeah.
about Stitcher.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
then, you start getting Spotify got big enough where they're just like, we have
I think
exclusives now, and you're like, shit. Now I have to listen to this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like Spotify and iHeart just ate their lunch, ate Stitcher's lunch. Like they were just
Mhm.
out there for the taking somehow.
But now Conan O'Brien's
Oh yeah.
podcast is
Yeah.
actually like at the end, it's like, not brought to you by, but it's like in affiliation with Stitcher. It
Oh.
wasn't always Stitcher, it just changed to Stitcher. So I don't know if they're
Oh, so
like
they're starting to scoop stuff up too, probably, huh?
dropping bucks. Yeah, but I'm still listening to it on Google. So it's not like, I don't know if it's just one of those like they pay money to just be like, say our name.
Yeah. Nope. iHeart is not exclusive. Like iHeart owns a bunch of podcasts and they're
Oh, right. Yep.
everywhere. And they're
Yep. The
everywhere.
Workaholics guys are iHeart.
Right. But you listen to it
Yep.
on Google. Like,
Yep.
yep, 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 for sure. So it's an interesting deal out there. But, anyways, enough about podcasts. Actually, one last thing, because if you do listen to us on Spotify on the app, I realized on the app, not on the desktop, because I listen to on my computer because I have a computer desktop, you can only do reviews through the app. So I've said it before.
Oh,
Yeah, I've said it before. Hey, if you can do reviews, that helps us a ton. That helps bump us up, right? Makes us feel, makes the systems know that we're legit. Um,
yep.
I tried
Lets other people
to
see us.
leave a review for us on Spotify and I couldn't. And it goes, yeah, you have to use the app. I'm like, shit. So if you're if you're using the Spotify app to listen to us, that'd be awesome. If you could leave us a review.
Spotify just like rolls its eyes and calls you grandpa. You gotta use the phone, grandpa.
All right, Tim. So we're gonna get into the fishing topic. It's gonna
Uh-huh.
be. I'm not even gonna say anything right now because we got a bit of an intro for that. But then stick around
Cold in my
for the
teeth.
random take in the second half. We're gonna talk about 16-bit video games. We're just gonna
Boop,
kind
boop,
of get
boop,
into
boop,
it.
boop.
We haven't done a video game topic in a while. I have some stuff rolled in. That's I'm gonna keep it vague because we grew up in the
Yeah.
16-bit era into the 32-bit. That was our shit. And well, it was more than 128s, but that's not the point. The point is
I got all the old systems when the new systems came out.
exactly.
That's how it yeah, so we definitely grew up in that era.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna. I just want to get into that because I got some stuff, and let's get into fishing because Tim, you you sent me a text and you're just like, hey man, I don't know what you got cooked up if you're already done doing the research and you're ready to go, but let's talk conservation and the regs. And I was like, oh yeah, the new regs
That's
are out.
right.
I was already ready for it. So
Yep.
with the burbot, I was going to do the news thing. And then you sent me that text and I was like, okay, let's just roll it all into one. So
Yeah.
Tim, I'm just going to hand it over to you. Kick us off.
All right, man. Well, let me start by saying like do we let's let's talk about the burbot first, right?
Okay.
Cuz I mean,
Yep.
you did
I
some
think so.
research. Yeah, let's get into that first cuz we were talking, like if you're listening to these back to back, we talked about burbot last episode, you coming into this one, here you go. We're hitting it right away.
Yeah,
So,
because the backstory of that was there was a story that was put out, fishing news. The new regs in Minnesota are coming out, and
yes.
they caught wind that the burbot was getting moved from a rough fish over to a game fish.
Yes, sir.
And we were all kind of like, what? What is it? Me and you, I mean, and you were like, dude, that's the first time a fish has ever that I can remember in my history of fishing that has been moved like it's been reclassified. So like, what does that mean? And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, kick ass. When it comes out, I'm gonna find the fuck out.
Right. And I mean, like how would it ever change really, Like it's definitely I don't know when the last time this happened, but
hmm
the it's everything else has basically been a sport fish for as long as you can remember. And
Right,
burbot, like
right.
there I heard tales about people just when they would land them in the past would just like leave them on the ice because they would catch them ice fishing and stuff.
Oh yeah,
And I
the
guess it
rough
just
fish treatment, right? That we
yeah.
talked about in the last episode.
But
With
I mean, it was almost, like, more so than the rough fish treatment, like, the
mm,
carps and stuff would get thrown in the rocks, and that was illegal, and people would, like, kinda just be like, "Yeah, take them home and put them in your garden or whatever."
mm-hmm.
But ice fishing, they're just like, "Oh, we're just throwing them on the ice, and they're gonna die here," and then they'll, float back
Fall
in the
back
water,
into
so
the
it's almost
water.
like yeah, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a weird one because 'cause you're catching them while you're ice fishing, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Well, we're just gonna throw them on the ice, and they'll eventually go back into the water,"
Right,
It's like,
right, right.
that's
Yeah,
kind of fucked
that
up,
is
man.
way different now that you say it that way.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
I guess like a lot of people were treating him real poorly. So, I mean, that's besides carp, it's never happened. And carp
right.
definitely aren't ever going to get the sport fish title. They're
No, no, no,
still
no.
like,
We've talked
nah,
enough,
the
and we'll
biggest,
talk more
yeah,
about carp, and that's just not
yeah.
changing.
They're just like the most, this is a sport fish in the sense that we can shoot it with a bow. That's the sport of it. We're going to,
Right, right, right.
this is not something anybody's fishing for. We're going to kill these.
Right. Yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah.
And so the crazy thing about the burbot is I did I'll just be completely transparent. Here's how I did the research. I downloaded the PDF and
Yep.
I did a search. I searched
Yep.
for burbot, I searched for eel pout, and I just searched throughout the regs.
Hmm.
Burbot is what it's referred to as most, so that one hit the most. And uh yeah, dude, I don't know what changed.
Nothing. So
Yeah. Like, do you know that?
yeah,
Like, are you just flat
yeah.
yeah.
No,
The only
so
thing that
what
I could find is you can't buy or sell it.
yeah,
Who the
yeah,
fuck
so
was doing that in the first place?
right. It's I mean, it's a sport fish just like it is with anything else. So you can like with a permit, you can't legally buy or sell any sport fish without the permit. But like
Right.
Maury's Fish Market, you can go there and buy I think everything. Like
Sure.
sunfish, walleye, I think they have it all.
Yeah, because they have the permit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So the to the normal person you can't sell it because it's a regular game fish. Where I don't know what the rules are on rough fish. So that might have been the main thing that changed because when it was a rough fish, it might have just been like buy and sell whatever you want, dude. I mean, just rough fish,
right,
whatever. Who
right.
cares?
Like,
If you go try to
did
sell a
the
carp.
Did the, like, freshwater lobster or whatever the fuck we talked about before, did that catch
Yeah,
on? And then the DNR was
the
just like,
poor
"Oh, people
man's.
be eating these things, man. We need to make some
Yeah.
money off that."
No, it's not just it's not just that though, because there's been eel pout fish fries for a while. I don't know
Sure.
how
Mhm.
many spots have them, but like legitimately, they're just like eel pout fish fry, and then you have like the old timers that are just like, yeah, I ate the eel pout, and then because they know about it,
Right,
Like I remember hearing stories about my great grandma Adeline like cooking up bullheads and shit, and you're just like,
right.
yeah, they got by with what they got by with,
Yeah.
and we've said it before, they're baby catfish. Not trying to get off topic, but it's like these people understand that like the fish if you can eat it, they've tried it before and
Right,
they
right,
go for it. So there's quite a
right.
few people that eat it, but now you got all these. It's weird with like weird eats how it didn't blow up, but I mean we eat lutefisk and shit too, which is the most fucked up dish
Yeah.
in the world, dude. Whoever even came up with that shit?
Dude,
Just
the
get we'll get
all of
we'll get
Scandinavia
fish.
has the weirdest fucking fermented dishes
You
of
ferment
all
it
time.
in fucking poison, dude. You ferment it in lye. It's
Who
literally
thought
like
that that
soaked in
was gonna be a good
poison.
idea? Yeah, I know. It's
It's
fucking
what the
crazy.
fuck?
I still wanna
Just
try it.
like,
I never have. I've been to, like,
dude, talk
Scandinavian
about
festivals and
being
shit, and I
tough as
still
nails.
missed it.
I
Yeah,
like to have that nice poison chemically taste in my fermented fish.
fucking Vikings.
Holy
Crazy,
Christ.
crazy
Yeah,
sons
when
of
fish
bitches.
goes bad, it's gross. What are we gonna do? Put poison in it? Hell yeah, we are. Just like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Yeah, so, um, but yeah, the burbot, so nothing really changed, but like the regulations will probably come out next year is what I read. So
Oh,
the
really? Okay.
regulations, yeah, and they said probably next winter. And North Dakota already has a daily limit of 10 fish and then the possession of 20.
Mm,
So, but
yeah.
dude, eel pouts, they get pretty decent size like that. I'm
Yeah.
guessing that there's probably going to be a size limit too. You know, they'll
Oh, I
they'll
gotcha.
probably
So
be
you think they
something.
just recategorized it this year, and now they're working on the actual regs, and then we'll
Yes, yep.
ah, mm,
I think more
mhm.
research needs to go into it. I think they're like,
Sure.
we'll call it a rut or we'll call it a sport fish now, so
Right.
people aren't like shooting it with a boat. Like with, I don't know if you could, anyways. I don't know where you would find them to go bow fishing. I don't think they're in the shallow waters.
Right. But I know
I
what
think
you mean,
people,
treating it rough, right? So hopefully
right?
people so people hopefully realize that like you stop treating it like you treat rough fish,
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah, cuz like you you can't spear game fish on the borders. But
right.
and then you look it up and it's just like, "Oh no, you can spear them because
Yeah, there's
the border
there's
states don't have this game fish, like so it's actually really it's a little muddy right now, so
uh
I think that's part
muddy.
of it because it it says in the regs you can't spear game fish on the
Yeah,
border, and then you look up and it goes, yeah, burbot are in the same category as carp suckers and that shit, and sounds like a rough fish, right?
right. Yeah,
And so they list all those on the borders, and so it's just like, yeah, you could still fit you
right.
could spear them.
So I said muddy because like I was looking through all their nicknames and there was like mudfish and mud pout and all this other
Oh, okay.
stuff.
Yep.
And the best one in Manitoba, Canada,
Yes.
they call them Maria.
What?
Yo, you catch a
What?
Maria? Hey, what do they probably say? Not yo, just
Hey, hey,
hey.
you catch a Maria?
If you're not gonna eat it, put it back in the lake, hoser. Don't be leaving the Maria on the ice.
Let us know how good that Canadian accent was, Canadian listeners, because that was beautiful.
Well, we're from Minnesota, so
Right, it's not
it's
that big of
pretty
a stretch.
close to what we got going on here. Minnesota.
Right, yeah. You know? All right. So, okay, that's a wrap on the burbot, man.
Dude,
If you
that's
have
it. Yep.
more, leave it in the comments of the YouTube video. And if you're not listening to us on YouTube, just go over there or go to realaf.tv/contact. Let us know. We're also on the social media, so you know how it goes. But hey, let's not do the plugs. Let's get into Tim, what is the like? I mean, it's the regs, right? Because the regs are out,
The regs
and
are out,
we
baby.
wanted to talk about that. We knew that's where we were going to kind of get our research, but like, I don't know, man. You're driving the bus. What are we doing?
Yeah, for sure. So the regs are out, and I saw that you had a little bit down, and we can get to that in a second. But first off, I wanted to touch on what's going on in the walleye world and what people are talking about. So if
Yeah,
you go out and
yeah,
you
yeah,
look
yeah.
at the regulation books and stuff, what you're going to see is that there is a 6 possession limit. And obviously, check your lakes. Certain lakes have certain
Yes.
different ones. I think Mille
Thank
Lacs
you.
is still, I forgot to look at Mille Lacs, but I think they're still at like a 1 fish limit per person because they were having some conservation issues
Mm,
or whatever. So
right.
check your lakes and stuff, but the
Yep.
original 6 fish limit is still in play on all the lakes. And I can't remember. I want to say it's like 1/24 inches or something like that. I forget. Maybe 1/20.
Yeah, I
I
didn't get
forget.
that exact number, but you're
Yeah.
you're right
But
that like it's
there's
always size and it's always a
yep.
number and
And
like it's
there's
go ahead, sorry.
well, I was
Stepping
gonna
on
say,
you.
and there's slot limits on different lakes too, where the
Mhm.
possession might still be that 6, but you're like
Mhm.
they all need to be within 16 to 20 inches or 16 to 22 or whatever. So
Mhm.
again, check your lakes. They have them listed by lake in each one of them, or in the book. You can go and it shows it lake by lake.
And it's
Um,
also on the DNR, the Minnesota DNR website. So I would hope that your state has something if you're listening outside Minnesota. I hope yours
right.
has something but yeah, you can search by lake specifically.
Yeah. So just s- for an example, Shamana, the lake that I fish a lot, has special regulations, not on walleyes and sunfish, because there's also limits on sunfish. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we
But
will.
on Chaminade, there's a special limit on pike because they want to make it like a good pike lake to fish.
It's a good pike lake.
So it's you catch tons of little guys. I'm kind of sick of it, and they're like, "You can't keep that many," and I'm like, "Can I please? Let's weed these out." But anyways, they're trying to play the odds, letting the little ones, as many
Right.
little ones, live as they can to make them bigger and whatnot. So,
Mhm.
um, 3 is the limit on that lake. You can only
Oh,
keep
wow.
3 still, and um, it's 1/34 or 32, I think. But they bumped up the limit for all the other lakes in the state that don't have a special limit to 10.
Wow.
It went from 5 to 10, and Chamina's still at
Really?
3.
Wow.
Yeah, I
What
believe. I
was
think it's 3. It might be 5. Now that I say 5 out loud, I'm like, "Oh, shit, guys, doesn't matter."
check your notebook, check your notebook,
Check your
but you're close.
yeah,
No, I meant
but
you check your notebook. Everybody else, you just fucking get the check your
yeah,
phone.
I didn't write down notes on that. This is just off the
This
top
is
of my head because
spitballing. I got you. I got you.
this was just me looking at the regulations for my lake, and it was in my head still. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyways, back to the Walters. This is slang term for the inside, Anyway,
That's inside
that's
baseball.
inside baseball.
You can
Walters,
check
the
Urban Fishing
walleye, you
Dictionary
get
for
it.
that one.
Yeah. So, but that 6 fish limit, the original 6 fish limit was put in place in 1956.
Get out of here, dude.
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
So think about what times were then
That's what I'm saying.
with
It's like so much has happened with. Wow. Sorry.
electronics, everybody knowing how to fish everything, the amount of knowledge that you have, the social media presence, you know?
Just the fact that I can go to the DNR website, look up fishing this lake,
Yes,
and get information like that.
you can get
Like, I don't
information,
have
you
to
can
find a
get
conservation officer. I can
yeah,
literally look it up on my phone as the boat's going into the lake.
you can learn about the bait fish,
Oh
you can
shit,
learn
shit,
about
shit, shit.
what?
Sorry. I hope it doesn't it's more me. Sorry. I
Oh,
hope my
okay.
background noise didn't just kick in. I forgot to turn off
Oh,
the heater.
oh,
Sorry,
I
sorry,
didn't
sorry.
hear nothing. No, I think you were good. But so with like even the social media presence and stuff. So think about like the anglers, like the boats and stuff that they have. In 56, it took you a half hour to get across the lake. It's,
Yeah.
like
Right,
now
right. Yeah.
now
I love
everybody's
that
got
you're
these
laughing
nice
and I'm just, like, deadpan.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, of course it
So
did. You had a fucking
now everybody
15 horse Johnson on the back of the
right, right.
like, outbo
So yeah, it was like 50 horses was the biggest one, and everybody's got like the 3 bench seats, and just is
Yeah.
there was better back in 56. I'm
I know, but
dumbing it down
we're
to like
we're
the
being
shittiest
general.
boats, but
Right, but we're also doing that because I mean, I don't know about you, but, like, when I was a kid, I grew up in '80s boats because we're not like, '90s
yeah,
kid had '80s boats, like,
yeah, for sure.
I wasn't we didn't have any money. Everybody
Yeah,
was buying fucking 15-year-old boats,
yeah, dude.
and they were just
My
wooden benches
parents,
with
I don't know what I can't remember
cutouts.
if my dad bought his new or what, but it was definitely like old. It was like a white and yellow boat, and it had the center console and stuff. It was decent,
Sure.
but it was nothing special. We didn't have electronics, and that's another thing. In 56, what I don't know when the first flasher was made, but you're talking like the ice fishing flasher that only knows what's directly below you at best back then.
Right,
So you
right,
might be able
right.
to know what depth you're in at a
Mhm.
certain point,
Yep.
but I don't even know if there was like contour maps back then. I would think that there would be, but how were they even
Hmm.
measuring that stuff at that point? So
Sonar?
now with
I mean, it
contour
wouldn't be as
maps,
up to date as it is now.
oh, for sure. There's certain ones that you definitely can where you can just drive around and it'll map it out for you because the GPS knows where you're at and it's sensing the depths at the same time. So it'll literally like create the map as you're driving around. Well, and at best back then, you were knowing how deep you were in. You weren't being able, you weren't, side imaging. You're able to find structure. You're able to know exactly where you're at, find the weed edge, know everything about where you're fishing. Now they have the live imaging where you're able to see exactly like what's in front of you or find the weed edge, like the electronics these days, that there's more anglers than there ever have been. And with social media, you're able to like find the hot bites and stuff. People are, like there's certain things that I've said where like in the springtime, I know where I'm going to go. Yeah. So they're like, I'm going to go bite, catch these or whatever. So even if they're not trying to share this stuff, they send a picture like of where they caught that fish. That person a lot of times is able to figure out where they're at. It'll show the location if they're not paying attention. If they don't want to, even they might share it. So times have definitely changed, and we still have that possession limit. And they've also so they stock a lot of fish still. One of the other things I heard is that on the lakes that have zebra mussels, and I said that weird mussels, the they they are having hard times keeping the walleye fry alive. For whatever reason, on these walleye, like the zebra mussel lakes, the walleye fry are dying off. So the walleye fry are small fish. It's like fry are little babies, and then fingerlings are, about as big as your finger. And then there's yearlings, and then after that, they basically become adults. Yeah, so they'll stock all those different kinds of size, but the fry are dying off early. And I think it's probably just because the clear water, like stuff's able to see them a little bit better and they're able to take them out. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Or the zebra mussels might actually be eating like the plankton and stuff, kind of taking out the food source for minnows and probably fry when they're that little. I don't know what the food source is for them. So, anyways, all that stuff being said, they are really pushing hard. They have talked to a lot of different people. I saw this on, I don't know if it was like an Infisherman thing or Al Linder was talking about it, and he's from Infisherman, and they were talking. They had a lot of different DNR stuff, but they're talking to go to a 4 fish limit with one over 20 inches. And there's a decent amount of people out there that are being like, "Oh, that's not enough meat," and it's like, "Fuck you, that's not enough meat. That's per person. If you want to catch enough fish for your whole family to eat, then have them come fishing with you." One.
Hey, there it is. Okay. All right. Well, all right, Tim. It's fucking lots of tech issues again. Damn it. So, anyways,
Golly
let's just
jeepers.
let's just hard cut there and deal with the lag as it is. Sorry, everybody.
Apologies.
You still got stuff to talk about.
Okay. Another thing, while I was looking through the regulations, I'm sure there's some other stuff out there, but one thing that I didn't understand at all, if anybody from the DNR can tell me this, it'd be cool. So The muskie possession limit is 1, and it's any fish over 54 inches, right?
Mm,
That makes sense. It's
okay.
like you caught a trophy fish, you wanna actually have, like, a
Oh,
real taxidermy thing, you can put it on your wall,
right.
cool.
Okay, okay.
But there are special regulations for, like, 20 some lakes where you can keep one over 40. They're like, "Yeah, over 40 is fine." That used to be the old regulations, but then they changed it to 54. Why are there like, yeah, you can keep one over 40? What's the point?
Nobody's eating this fish, so
Nobody's eating that fish, and who's putting a 40-incher on the wall? That's unless it's
that's
your first one. I do have should say, in fairness, I do have a 42-incher
mhm.
that ended up coming out like ridiculous because it's not a real, it's a replica,
It's a
and the
photo,
replica.
right? Like, you sent in photos. That's how it works?
Right, yep, and it's a replica, and the replica that they made of my muskie, they used based off of, like, one of the, like, monsters out there, so its whole girth and everything is off, like, it looks like a giant fish, and
Uh.
I'm looking at it like, "That was not the fish I caught," you know? But because of its
Yes.
size, and since I've caught a 47-inch, that we measured, and then another one where I was walleye fishing and ended up catching a bass, and the bass got ate by the muskie and still
Oh
landed it, and
god.
that was a giant, like 50-inch fish, but I didn't get a chance to measure it. We're just going based off, kind of like laying or like holding it on the deck, eyeballing it, trying to look later, like, oh, that was like a 50-inch fish. It's definitely the biggest muskie I've ever caught. I've caught a
Right.
couple, and I held that one up, and I mean, like standing it, like with my arm curled, the tail went down to my toes, and I'm 6'2", like just like this is a massive fucking fish. So now I feel content with
Got
having
it.
that fish on the wall. But when I first got it, I'm like, this is not the fucking fish I got. That thing looks huge. So,
But you
but like
since have
going back to a
filled that
42-inch
fish's,
fish,
like,
I
quota.
don't, I don't know who wants to put a 42-incher on the wall. So it's just like that's just
Yeah.
odd to me why there's special regulations to have a handful of lakes at 40 when everything's been changed to 54. One other
Mm.
thing to go back to
Oh, yeah, please.
about the walleye on your license, it's a secret. If you guys, n- if you have one of the newer license, not
Yep.
the older license where it looks like a regular driver's license, like where they changed it, if
Mhm.
you know what I'm talking about, if you live
Yeah,
in
so,
Minnesota,
like,
you know.
the short version of this, quick to sum it up for anybody listening outside Minnesota, is, like, the feds, they mandated, real ID. The real IDs are hard to get, but we decided to change it anyway, and we're also sort of resisting it as a state. And the long story short is we had to redesign them not too long ago, and now they're covered in holographics, and I don't know,
Yeah.
it gets crazy.
So, yeah, so if you flip the license over and you're looking at the back of it, you can't see it just looking at it, but if you shine a flashlight from the front through the back, I can't remember if it's in like the upper right-hand corner or where it is, but you can see the walleye. There's an outline of a walleye. It's little.
No way.
Yeah, but you can see it. You gotta flip it so your face side is like
Really?
on the light, and the light's shining through the backside, and
Holy
then you look at the
shit.
backside and you can find the walleye.
That's crazy, dude.
Yep.
That's awesome. I had no idea. I'm gonna have to look at it because I don't even have one yet. I haven't had to. I will
Yeah.
soon, but I haven't had to get one yet. So I never even looked into that. That's sweet.
Hey, and here's a good segue since we're about to be talking about video games. That's a fishing Easter egg on your driver's license.
Nice one, Tim. Kick ass. Let's get into the random take then, and let's talk about the 16-bit generation. Was it a good generation? Were the games actually good? Or is that just nostalgia talking? I don't know yet. But you're about to find out what me and Tim think in the second half. Let's hit the break.
Yeah.